starting the broadcast right now. There we go. There we go. And
all right, he made an elemental for once without it attacking him.
Do what now? Did the match
He made
start?
an elemental once without it attacking him.
Wait, did the match start already?
Summer Classic
Oh shit, yeah, it did.
charity event sponsored in part.
Okay.
Symiad is getting nice damage.
Family Insurance. Robinson Cano.
So's Ferg.
Sabathia,
Wow,
and Kevin
Pixie's
Durant
going down.
Their reflection.
And the stream is screwing up. Okay. I'm sorry, guys, but we are live. Apparently, the match started and I didn't realize it. So, we've got Sjovar, Ellminaidra, Prithian, and that's it for Quicksilver. So, once again, Quicksilver does not field a full team. I believe they fielded a full team twice this entire season.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Depressing.
Yeah, depressing is probably a better word for it. They're up against Gallowglass, who has Symiad, Puck, Ferg, and Fardoc. It's looking like Quick is going to be an easy win for Gallowglass, and that's what they need to try and maintain their standings right now in that cutthroat fight for third place.
Ooh, Prithian in red already,
Yeah,
taking
Symiad,
high greens.
Wow, look at that too. Symiad just like going ham on him. That Wild Elf
For getting those yellows. That's what happens when you have that mixed alignment, spike damage on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You get to pick who kicks your ass.
Oh yeah. That's what I always like when they pick to not protect against me. You get that nice big giant ogre damage going off. And of course, I, like an idiot, didn't set the teams. There we go. Now the map will keep track of this correctly.
It's alright. 2 out of 3 men have performance anxiety. It's okay.
Symiad getting dispelled. What? That
he's a wild elf
coming into play. But Jesus, that's the damage onto Prithian.
Well, my question is, was it Ellminaidra or that landed the dispel? Probably, because if I was Prithian, I would not be typing anything but flee.
I don't know, man. He's a pretty ballsy little guy. And look at the damage coming out from him now. He's getting good. Well,
oh, those are ranged. Yeah, he's ranging them south.
He's
smart.
Yeah, he's generally been pretty good about trying to stay out of the way and ranging cones and things like that. But doesn't do him much good right there. The raw damage he's taking is just too much. And he finally goes down. You know, Pixie's really their only defense is that dodge, and it's not usually helpful against a Wild Elf Singer. They have almost as much dex as the Pixie.
Work or collapse in 10 seconds.
Oops, got my sounds going off.
Fardoc is picking up the flag, so Gallowglass is looking to push it. Now that they're well, really 2 men up now, because it was 3 on 4 to start with, and Quicksilver lost the man, so 4 on 2 now. Gallowglass says, alright, let's just grab the flag and go.
Yeah, they should try to book it to heal that Pixie, but a little late.
I mean, I think you'd want to just kind of, in that situation, I think you do just kind of want to be super aggressive. If you drag out the fight on a 3v4, you don't have a chance. Yep, it's, I wonder if that's, yeah, that does seem to be maybe dropping his damage. I don't know, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, the Scald is getting his butt whooped regardless.
Yeah, he probably doesn't have compensation. I mean, you got to figure as a Blade Singer.
Is he wearing 2 weapons?
I would assume so. Unless he's like me and he's just kind of a noob. That match last night, turns out I got circle stab shield disarmed at the very first engagement, and then never wore a shield again. I just single wielded like the entire match with no shield. Because I'm an idiot. Ferg does strangle Sjovar. You know, maybe a little bit of overkill here, but you know, they do want to just end it quickly. And Fardoc's moving across with the flag, trying to anyway. You know, he's stuck fighting at the moment.
For Symiad with them rescues.
Sjovar goes down, so now it's 4-on-1, I believe.
Yep.
Don't think Ellminaidra can really pull that off. Priests not known for their ability to solo entire groups. So
It looks like a spell sank.
it was a spell sank, in fact, which is weird. You know, Fardoc spell sinking. Even then, like, why? That's 75 mana. I realize it doesn't matter for Fardoc really in this case, but still, it's 75 mana you could be spending on heals. Why not just carry in potions?
Well, my sources tell me Fardoc is not very PK savvy.
Your sources at the Illuminati?
My sources in Gallo.
He's done all right so far. I mean, you know, he hasn't really done anything fantastic, but I don't think he's really dragged the team down either.
I've seen him run around whole matches with no weapon. Like,
oh yeah, there have been a couple of those. But I mean, to be
like,
fair, in you know, in ACFL, it can be hard. Like, especially, I'm pretty sure I know the matches you're talking about against brutes, and we disarm people a lot. And you know, if you're not used to it, it can definitely be hard to keep track of your weapons. You get like everything you own is like all across the arena.
yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in having like 6 weapons and like 3 or 4 shields if you're a caster. Because you need that parry, you need that shield block.
Absolutely. You need to have backups and be prepared. Prythian is sanked.
Ooh, nice chain damage.
Chains. I mean.
Ooh, look at Fardoc taking like all those yellows.
Yep.
Ooh, nice.
And he can't leave. But then again, you know, Prythian
like
can't last much longer. He's gonna go down eventually. And
he's got to have enough mana to heal himself.
Ellminaidra needs to get there and heal him up. You know, as long as he can get healed back up, he can get back on Fardoc, start getting some more damage. Those chains are, you know, doing work, but if he dies too quickly, that's gonna be it. Ferg gets big-handed, so that's gonna help.
Yeah, they don't have anybody that can skill blind, and they got 2 spell baits on their team also.
Nope, sorry. Hush now, R2.
One spell bait.
Oh,
Symiad canceled his weekend.
Apparently he got tired of that crap. He was like, screw this. So it makes me believe he maybe doesn't have strength gear. But I mean, at this, it's not looking like Quicksilver is going to be able to make anything happen. But we'll see. You know, Prythian could still get healed up.
I know, it doesn't look like he healed that much.
No. Well, I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of health to begin with, so.
Maybe he's staying in wimpy range. Nope.
Nope, he's dead. He's staying in ghost range.
I don't think he used that much mana. He must have had a lot left over.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure pixies have a ton of base mana, but they do not have a ton of base health. So it's a rough call, especially in a 3v4 at best, to really spend all of it. Which is one of the cool things about stars. You know, they're these mages with all this mana, but they can spend it healing each other, not just on the raw damage. Which helps keep each other alive and, you know, make sure they can spend that mana. Gives them something to do with it.
Yep. I'm always happy when I see 0% by their mana when they die.
Ellminaidra gets shield disarmed, but she does pick it back up right away. She
Triggers.
doesn't wear it just yet.
Ooh, dirted before she could wear it.
Which is odd, because she had like 3 or 4 rounds at least there. But Fardoc picks up the 3rd flag, and they're looking to move it. Go ahead and get the clean 3-0 on this 3v4. I kind of wish Gallowglass had, you know, gone for the 3v3, you know, leave somebody in the prep room. But then again, at the same time, they're in a position where like every flag capture really matters. So I understand, you know, needing to make sure you get the 3-0.
Yeah, if Perithian could have survived until their Scald came out, they could have possibly forced a 3-on-3 fight if they stayed away from Fardoc.
Mm-hmm. But as
then,
it is, I
but
think
then
it's
that
going to end
leaves
pretty soon.
yeah, but then that leaves either the Priest to pick it up or the Scald, because Pixie ain't picking nothing up right now.
No, it's...
Ooh, Symiad getting worked.
Yeah, which is weird. Is he not blade singing? No, he's not.
Nope.
And that's why
He must have noticed.
that he is inoffensive with no blade song. Doesn't have that those defenses working up for him.
Why is he wearing freezing weapons? That's a Yene.
Because he was, you know, I really don't know. I can't explain it. You know, it's weird. A lot of people don't seem to, like, everybody knows the vulns, but a lot of people don't pay attention to the resist. Like, there's a lot, especially like some of the less played races. Like most people, I think, know that Yens are resistant to lightning. Less people know that they're resistant to cold as well. And there's some other races that have some interesting resists that people don't usually think about either. Like, you know, Minotaurs are resistant to blunt, and I believe they're also resistant.
Ogres.
And there's a couple other cases like that as well. Like
I think ogres are resistant cold and blunt as well.
I know they were resist blunt, and then I know at some point at least ogres and giant ogres were resist cold. I think it may have gotten taken away, but I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, it's been so long. Fardoc gets pixie slapped, so there you go. There's a nice little delaying tactic, but I don't really know that it's going to change anything. Ellminaidra is going to die at some point here pretty soon, I would imagine. And then, you know, Fardoc can be asleep, it doesn't matter. But they did wake him up, and just because they're trying to kill him before Ellminaidra dies. And, you know, if I'm Ellminaidra, I'd just be spamming, healing myself. Or mins, whatever the case may be. But she's taking so much damage, she's still not wearing her shield.
And she goes down.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time, you know, criticizing her too much about that, considering, like I said, I spent the entire match last night without a shield and one weapon. So it's in ACFL especially, it can sometimes be a little hard to keep track of things like that, even if you, generally speaking, think you know what you're doing. So that's the first match, guys. Clean 3-0 for Gallowglass in a 4v3 situation, which is good for them. You know, that's the expected result, but if Quicksilver had managed to somehow get, you know, a capture or two off, then that would have been bad for Gallowglass, because at the moment Gallowglass, Sharks, and Hydra are really all fighting for that third place position, and it could very easily come down to points and flag captures, not just
Yeah,
matches won.
with just 3 people, they didn't do too bad. If they would have had a 4th, they might have had a chance.
I agree. I mean, they put up a decent fight. They looked like they might have been in a position at one point to get that sorry, I'm getting text or constantly called, and I'm trying to like I lost track of where I was saying.
They had a chance. If they would have had a 4th, they could have had it.
Yeah.
Looked like they might have had a chance to score.
Yeah, they had a position there where Gallowglass was starting to get bled dry, and they just they didn't have the ability to stay alive and make it happen.
Yeah, they didn't have the damage. Their damage was dead, and there was just a priest and a pixie.
And I think Quicksilver just isn't as experienced as at staying alive. There's some players when you watch ACFL, there's some players that when they get low, they just kind of die, and then there's some players that they get low and they just keep living and living and living and living, and you're like, how are you doing this? There's some people are really good at staying, knowing when they can jump in and get some damage off, and then backing off.
Why, what sort of sorcery is this?
So I mean, you're one of those players. Xantiln, same thing. Swashbucklers usually, like the really good swashbucklers, are the ones where it's really easy to tell. Like that's the big difference to me between the good swashbucklers and the bad ones. Is the good ones like can get down to awful condition, and then they just don't die. They just like wait for those opportunities to jump in, get that init damage off, and jump away before they get focused down. So it's not necessarily always as obvious with some other classes, but it's still a good indicator of of skill and experience when you can stay alive and get in at the right time.
They got the best fleet in the business.
Alright, so let me see here.
Verminasia.
That's gonna do it for that match. So let me